Okay. So I starting today's CSC, CEC meeting on September 15th, 2022 at 6:14 p.m. And due to technical difficulties, we're starting a little bit late, and I apologize to everyone. So basically, there are a few things that need to be updated. The recycling bins in government buildings, for some reason, I went in and checked. I thought that I had submitted everything, but I went back in, there was nothing there. So I'm going to have to try that again for CSC P5. I don't know. This was probably a month ago that I went in and submitted pictures and submitted an explanation and our policy. So I'll have to go back and see what's going on. The construction and demolition waste policy are on hold. Waste reduction education campaign still on hold. Residential organic waste program is on hold, Lynn, but was that the one that we were going to use the county?
Yeah, I think that because we're a county drop site until further notice, I think that that should cover us, because people who can compost in the village and want to probably already do.
Yeah.
But then this is great for people who live in apartments if they're interested in saving their goodies for a week and then bringing them in on Saturdays.
I will check to
That's
see
the way it works.
if we can get credit for that.
It would be nice to get credit for stuff that's already set up rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. And honestly, solid waste management is not our bailiwick.
No, organic waste. Yeah, we've been doing that for several years.
Yeah. They put it out every Saturday morning, regardless of the weather.
Okay.
They have that little shed out there if it's really horrible outside, or the guy or gal can sit in their car.
Whoever is here.
Yeah. It works really well.
I will check with Jody to see. Jody's out of the country right now, but when she gets back, I'll check with her to see if we have any information about when that started and any kind of an agreement we have with them about when, and see if we can use that as evidence. So
we should be able to backdate that.
Oh, yeah.
It's been going for quite a while.
Yeah. So that's what I thought. I wanted to be sure and write it down today. So moving on to PE6, the unified solar permit. The planning board is now working on a new solar law. I asked Mike Scott today if we would be using the unified solar permit. He says it looks like we can. He said it's a lot more detailed than a typical person would need for a small installation. But I explained to him that our discussion within these meetings is that also makes them aware of the things they need to take into consideration before they try any sort of installation. And so I think that's going to happen. I think we will be using the unified solar permit, and when we do, we will submit that evidence through a resolution.
Is that unified permit something the state has put together?
No, I don't think so.
It's unified for.
It's for small installations.
Okay. But not just in the village.
Not just in the village,
Okay.
just for anyone. That way, it's the same application that can be used by anyone. It might be a DEC form. I'm not really sure.
I wonder who came up with it.
It is uniform throughout the state.
Okay.
Ronnie, I had sent a copy of the state form and the resolution template many months ago. Would you like me to resend those?
No, I'm pretty sure I have them, and I forwarded those on to Mike and Carolyn Greenwald when you sent it to me soon after anyway. So we will just use that, unless you know of any changes that might have happened since then.
No, and as a matter of fact, the resolution is written in such a way that you would use whatever updated permit there was, so there's no danger of that expiring.
Okay. I'm just going to make a note for myself. State form. Okay. I'll check on that. And if I can't find it, Gina, I'll get back to you, but I'm pretty sure I've got that in a folder on my computer.
All right.
The planning and infrastructure for bicycling and walking. Basically, we are participating in the Safe Streets for All grant application. That was submitted Tuesday night. So if we get that grant, we will be part of the county action plan, Safe Streets for All action plan, and we should have an appendix or a subsection or a chapter, whatever they call it, specifically for the village, and we would have input into that, things we would like to see and participate in. By having that, if the village decides down the road to go for a federal grant, this Safe Streets for All has to be in place, and we have to be a participant in order to even submit a grant request. So
Good.
that's done. And once we get the final version of what was submitted, I guess we can submit that to CSC as evidence. Would that be correct, Gina?
You know, I'm not that familiar with all of the details of CSC. I'm really sorry about that. I can check on that.
I can check on it too. I thought you might know. Never mind, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Alternative fuel infrastructure, I'm still pushing the Tompkins County to do shared services.
Yeah.
But if that is not picked up, then I think that in this year's budget cycle, I'm going to start pushing to have some charging stations installed in at least our public parking lots.
That's a really great idea, because we don't have a lot of public spaces where people can charge.
Right.
I suppose they could come in here and charge, but we might not want to deal with cars taking up parking spaces in our lot.
No, we would I was thinking that we would install charging stations through a vendor who we get a portion of the money off of it into our park spaces. And then once we get a hybrid or EV fleet for our DPW department and or our staff, we would install 1 or 2 stations in here. That would be probably at the end of the cycles.
It occurs to me that just thinking about, say, putting one over at Marion Harthill Park, you could easily have somebody who's living in the apartments parking their car there all night long. So we might have to have some controls on.
We can talk about that with the vendor to see what they have.
What do they do to control, people just poaching? They have to pay for it.
Right. I've heard some various scenarios that if a person comes in and plugs in their car and their car is already charged in X number of minutes or half an hour or something later,
it shuts off.
It shuts off, and or it starts charging them a lot more for every minute that they're connected to it. So it gives them some incentive to go move their car.
So you can't park it and walk away.
Right, you can't park it and walk away. So I think things like that have been problems, and I think there are solutions in the works, but when we talk with our vendor, we'll say that that's an issue, and what can we do?
I have a question for clarification.
Sure.
Will the village own the EV charger?
No.
Okay, so in terms of the way that the CEC program notice is written at the moment, it would not count for CEC credit.
Okay.
They are updating the program, and they will have a new version out in January, and several of the coordinators have requested that third-party owners don't disqualify communities for this action. So stay tuned for that. But as of this moment, it would not qualify you for CEC credit.
Thanks, Gina. That's good to know.
That will be the way a lot of municipalities go, so they might as well start looking at it. We won't be making a move on that for a few months anyway.
No. And from my view, I want to start implementing or installing, if we have to do it this way, we will just install the EV stations. And if we ever get credit down the road, we can, but the important thing is to have the charging stations available and let people use them. The natural resources inventory, I can try to remember if everyone got copied on Rachel's email.
Did she finish it?
No, she's still working on it. There were some sections that she wanted us to look at.
Well, I lost everything, so I don't have anything from Rachel
Okay,
since last year. I don't know where it all went.
let me see if I can find that again, and I will just read it into the minutes.
Okay.
I can find things so fast on my computer, but on a phone,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do a search then. I'll search for Zevin. Okay, here it is. Hi, Ronnie. The NRI is going well. I attached a copy here. There are a few sections I think would benefit from local input. Bullet 1 is rare plant and animal communities and significant natural communities. Sub-bullet, I can write something generic about the region's rare plant and animal communities and significant natural communities, but it would be great if there were some local examples. I am having trouble finding any. So we just have to see if we can come up with something. If not, we can't. Parks, second bullet, parks, sub-bullet. Anything more specific about the specific village parks you want in there? So I'll have to check to see what she said about it. And then the last paragraph is, feel free to distribute this draft to task force members for revisions. I still need to add the executive summary and final summary and conclusion section to this document, as well as correct and finish filling out references. However, it would help me to get any major revisions in first before I finalize the draft. Please let me know if you have any questions. Signed, Rachel. And I will forward this to you, Lynn, after. In fact,
Okay.
I can forward it
Thank you.
now. Let me see if I've got your email address. Is it Gmail, the Gmail address?
Yes, yeah. If there's any Yahoo that pops up there, just throw it away.
Okay, I thought that I had erased it because you told me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be sure. Okay, it should be on its way to you now.
Okay.
So you can review that too. So that's all of the CSC actions we have for today. Now, Gina, why don't you take over for our CEC side?
Okay. All right. So currently, the village has 1,300 points in the program. And so you also have two community campaigns going on.
Right.
The community heating and cooling campaign and the community solar.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are actions that carry action grants. However, the solar program is currently out of funds. So
Okay.
you would get 200 points when you complete the solar campaign, but there is no grant attached to it currently.
Okay.
You will get the $5,000 at the completion of the clean heating and cooling campaign.
Okay. For the community solar, I met with Noah Siegel and Connor Metnick, I think was his name, from True Green Capital Management. I had concerns because I was thinking, well, we've already got a campaign contract with Solar Farms. So what was that going to do? Well, it turns out that the True Green Capital Management, LLC, is the parent company of Solar Farms New York. So they're going to help us kick off a second campaign. And the only thing they will need to get from us is a mailing list of our local residents from Jody when she gets back. And they were telling me that they're now looking at starting to include small businesses in certain areas as long as their solar farms can take the new demand requests. So they're looking at that too. So I thought that was interesting. I'm glad to see the business community jumping on, because if we get residents and business communities jumping on, that will put pressure at the state and the federal level to start coming up with expanded infrastructure, I think. Mm-hmm. So anyway, okay.
Great.
Go on, Gina. Anything else?
Okay. So I was looking at how to get the village to 3,000 points. If you pass the unified solar permit and complete your two campaigns, the clean heating, cooling, and the solar, and then if you get the bronze certification, climate smart community certification, you'll be at 2,800 points.
Okay,
So all you would need to do at that point would be maybe to bump it up to a silver certification, or if the EV charging stations, if NYSERDA changes that where you can get the credit, even if you don't own it, that would be 3,000 points.
okay, well, that's
So,
good.
yeah.
Those all sound doable.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's good to
So
know.
if there is anything else that you're interested in doing, just, let me know and we can talk about it. Have there been any upgrades in the municipal facilities, heating equipment? Have you had any heat pumps installed?
No,
Yeah, so I think that what I just mentioned, the Unified Solar Permit, the 2 campaigns, CSC, bronze, and then maybe silver, would get you to 3,000 points.
okay, all right. Maybe this year.
That'd be terrific.
My concern is that some of the evidence that I've been submitting seems to be disappearing or not appearing as being
It's not getting
done.
credited.
Well, it's not a matter of getting credit. It's like I
not
submit
showing
it,
up.
and then when I submitted it, and I come back in a month and look, and there's nothing there. So when Rachel gets back, I guess I need to work with her and say,
Sounds like a black hole.
what's going on? If they reject it, they would usually just reject it and tell me why, and I would go in and correct it rather than just removing it. So I don't know if there's an additional step that I'm missing, but anyway, we'll get that worked out. And I'll just,
For the CSC actions, I'm sure Rachel can just sit with you and get it, remotely sit with you and get it submitted. And then again, for the CEC, we can always do Zoom meetings and submit during those Zoom meetings to make sure that it goes through.
yeah,
The thing about CEC is that when you do submit it, you get an instant acknowledgement on
Right.
email. If you don't get an instant acknowledgement, that means it's not submitted.
right.
So you don't have to wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to see if that's true of CSC too, and if I don't get an instantaneous acknowledgement, then say, oh, something's not right. So, okay, thank you for
Okay,
that.
so also you say on the agenda, benchmarking. So you've completed that. You're not
Yeah.
interested in passing the resolution, correct?
For benchmarking,
Right.
I thought that we found out that they were not going to accept the benchmarking of our municipal buildings.
They were not going to accept what you've already passed. You'd have to pass something else, and it's only 100 points. Remember we spoke about that?
Yeah,
And it might not be worth asking people to go down that road for just 100 points.
okay.
I mean, it's up to you. I'd certainly help you do that if you wanted to.
We'll think about it. We'll see what's really needed, what needs to be done.
Okay.
What would the benchmarking entail?
It would be our, what is it? Is it Energy Smart, where we've,
Yeah, it's Energy Star Portfolio
Energy
Manager.
Star.
Energy Star
Okay.
Portfolio Manager.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Yeah, I have already, I collected 2 years of data. I requested this past year's data from NYSEG, but I have not heard anything. I'm going to have to call them. I had to do this last year too,
Yeah.
call them and say, I've requested this by email and I'm not getting anything. Can you make this for me? But
I have a suggestion, Ronnie, with that.
okay.
To get anything out of NYSEG, if you call them and you can ask for up to 3 accounts, a spreadsheet of up to 3 accounts for 24 months of data on the spot, and they'll send it to you the same day. When you ask for more than 3 accounts, then they want like a written request, which takes forever. But what I do is I call them, a couple times in the same day.
There are 3 different
Three different
accountants.
accounts each time. I get it.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
I'll
That's
make-
what I do. I mean, that's bureaucracy for you.
Yeah, can only do 3 at a time. Nice seg.
But I would stress to them that you need to have it on a spreadsheet, because a spreadsheet is easy for you to upload. Rather, if they put it on a PDF, then you've got to actually copy the numbers.
Right. They sent it to me last year in a comma separated value file, which is just as good as a spreadsheet. So.
Good. And it depends, if you get somebody who says it can't be done, just hang up and dial again, and the next person will be able to do it. I found that, dealing with NYSEG, you're dealing with whatever individual you get, it's a roulette, what they know about what they're able to do.
Well, and some of that is just the fact that people have been moved into positions or hired for positions within the last couple of years, and with all of the human resources issues that every company's having, you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
So that's okay. That's a good idea. If they can send me 3 at a time, I think we have 6 or 7. I'll make sure of that. And I'll say, I need these 3, and I'll call back the next day and say, I need these 3.
Yep.
I'll get that done that way. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Gina.
Yeah, I do that all the time. And the other thing is that the next thing on your list is New York Stretch Energy Code.
Yep.
And I have been informed, well, this has expired on June 30th. And I've been informed that they are not planning on replenishing those funds. They are not planning on starting it up again at all. So
Okay.
not even for points.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what they're going to replace it with, because that is a real big points getter. They must have something else in mind for, when the new iteration comes out in January.
Yeah. This was for early adopters, and I don't think we wanted to be an early adopter with only one code enforcement officer. I think he was afraid it was just going to consume all of his time. But if something else comes along, just let us know, and we'll see if we can't pursue that instead.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking around January sometime, they'll probably release a significantly updated program opportunity notice.
Okay. Thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's all that I had for today.
Okay.
Anything else, Lynn? Gina, did you have any more?
No, just let me know what you need from me, and I'm happy to help.
I do. I was telling Lynn that the last 6 months, Deborah and I have been downsizing, getting our house ready for sale, putting it on the market, showing it, and we signed a preliminary contract today. And we were just saturated with our normal work for the village and the county plus that. So I kind of dropped the ball on some things.
Yeah, you're doing
I'll pick them back up and move them down the court a little bit faster, I think, after the contract is completed. So I apologize.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast. People working, municipal officials are busy people, and sometimes, you can spare the time, and sometimes you can't. I completely understand that. You have lives too. And a lot of people have jobs as well as, their.
Yes. Yeah, it's right. So anyway, I last month, I couldn't do it. I wasn't even prepared. I was a basket case.
It's okay to be a
Well,
basket case.
congratulations on your new house.
Join the rest of us. When would our next meeting be? Is that going to be the third Thursday in October? Because if that's the case, that puts us at the 20th
of
October.
Let me look at my
Let's see,
calendar.
Wednesday.
We'll confirm
Wait a
that.
minute, October, no, it's a Thursday, right? Yeah, it would be the 20th.
Okay, let me
That's just tentative.
see if I can find the month of October. October 20th? Yes, 6 p.m. October 20th is our next meeting.
Right. And I have this singing engagement at Cornell every Thursday night. It's a Compline service, and I have to go find a place to park on campus, which is always such fun. So,
Take decaf.
oh, it takes forever to get there, though. From my house, I mean, I'd
Yeah,
have to
from your
hike up
house.
to the village, and I can park behind it's in Annabelle Taylor, so I have to wait for a parking place to open up.
So you have to sit there and wait. You have to vulture.
I actually, yeah, I won't. Actually, the last couple of times I've been able to get a space, and maybe it's because it's like almost the dinner hour and people are gone.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you had seen this. These are all the food scrap drop sites for the whole county, what they're doing with us.
Okay.
So, you know, that's just the latest brochure.
And that's evidence that we are
Yeah,
listed on.
we're in it.
So we can just scan that and send it in as evidence.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a
I
little
had
bit.
not
of-
seen that.
Yeah, those come out every year, and that has all the instructions and the dates when people's recycling is supposed to be collected.
Thank you.
When holidays are and all that.
Yeah, I've signed up for the email notification. I get an
Good.
email notification, recycling, et cetera. So,
Yeah, all right.
okay.
All right, well, good luck.
All right. Have a
Thanks.
good evening.
Thank you,
Nice to
Gina.
hear you, Gina.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tonight's meeting is ending at 6:40 PM.
Oh, that's pretty quick. That's efficient. All right.